If I were to start a product-based business from zero, I'm bringing it to market, I'm trying to get it to go mass market, I want a national global brand. This is exactly what I would do in order to bring it to social media and really pack a punch and disrupt my industry. This is something I get asked really often is, Maddie, I have a brand new idea, a brand new business. I'm in the ideation phase. How would you actually go about bringing this thing to market? What would that really look like? This is going from zero to a thriving social media. This is exactly what I would do. This question was actually asked by one of you within my Small Business Cafe, which is my free podcast community, where we get to connect a little bit deeper, share some insight, as well as you get to ask me direct questions, and sometimes I answer them on my podcast. The question was, how would you start from zero on social media? How would you start your content for a product-based business from zero? What are the most important things that you need to make sure are put in place from the start of your business to ensure a good foundation? So I'm assuming I already have a product and now I want to turn it into a brand. I really want to turn this and pack the punch. I have the graphics, I have the branding, and what all of that looks like. This is what I would do with a client or with my own business if I had this really great idea. I would truly try to have under 5 SKUs if I was just starting a new brand. I would honestly, I think you can grow with one product overall. At least one product, maybe a couple of different colors, maybe a couple of different sizes, different things like that. But under 5 SKUs, if you have collections, colors, things like that, we're really trying not to have too many. And then we can expand after we get the idea of the brand out there and really get proof of concept around these first kind of core major pillars. First things first, if you know anything about me, I start at the foundations of my brand. I recorded a podcast episode a couple of weeks ago about my 4P model. PP is my seamless sales system structure. And this is a lot of what we did, but I wanted to bring it from a brand that is brand new because my 4Ps can work for businesses that are making $1 million, but really wanting to go on and get consistent sales online as well. This is from a brand that is completely fresh. The things that are necessary prior to actually starting on social media are actually some of the most important pieces. We have to really understand how are you positioning your product? So you have this product, no matter if it's skincare, if it's sunscreen, if it's a candle, if it's clothing, if you have a new swimsuit line, whatever it is, I want you to look at your industry and we need to decide on how are you positioning it in a white space within your industry. Meaning, within your industry, there's a whole bunch of people. Some people are selling it because it's natural. Some people are selling it because it's scientific. Some people are selling it because of this benefit or that benefit. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to be empowering. And where within the world of your industry is there nobody saying this? Is there nobody selling to this person? Is there nobody creating something in this style? And I want to figure out what my flag is in that realm. Where am I putting my stake in the ground saying, this is what I am positioning myself as within this overall marketplace? Now, I understand the question is, how would I start from social media at zero? But you can't start on social media unless you have the foundations of your brand super solidified. So I would decide on the major message behind my brand, how would I position it? I would also try to figure out who would love this differentiator in this message. Who is this really helpful for? Who is this solving a problem for? And I would do insane amounts of research and have conversations with those types of people. I would send text messages to my friends that are within those demographics. I would be posting in Facebook groups. I would be doing so much research on who that person is, what are they looking for, what are they using instead, and having a really incredible amount of knowledge on that person. You have to get curious on your consumer and you have to know them well. You have to ask why so many times. You have to understand who this person is, what makes them tick, and how can we dive a little bit deeper into really understanding who they are at their core, what are their core desires, their core motivators, their core fears, and how can you go from there? And then I would identify and create the style and the aesthetic that you want to have. Of course, you have your brand name, your meaning statements, your brand statements, your visuals, all of that. But this is deeper than just visuals, colors, feelings, vibes. I want you to have a full aesthetic around your brand. Like I want to ask, what are the adjectives that you want people to feel when they come in contact with your brand? And it's like, let me show you my brand outline. I would create a brand identity guide. If you don't know how to do that, get a brand specialist to make one for you, because you need to have these quality visuals really solid. So now we have really solid foundations of your brand. You know how you're positioning it in the marketplace. You know who would really love you and what they would love about you. And what is the overall vision that you actually have? How are we tangibly creating this, and what style are we putting it in? Those foundations are necessary before even starting on social media. You need to have that before even starting your profile. And so if you are coming to market, now I would create a social media that is set up with new customers in mind, with this overall positioning, this message that you have behind your brand in mind everywhere. I too often see brands that come to market and their profile is like basically empty and they're already running ads for their product, but I can't actually go back to your profile and binge any content or figure out what your brand is all about, because they're trying to come to market and they're trying to get followers, but you do need a little bit of foundations on your brand. So I would first create a profile with a bio that has my brand statement, my brand message, the clarity, the features that are absolutely necessary for people to know, but also the like experience and feeling of working with my brand and what they are actually going to get from my product. What is the tangible benefit that they are going to receive? And then I would create 3 really strategic pin posts. Before I start to build an audience at all, before I posted to my friends, my family, anybody, reached out to anybody, I would have an Instagram with a bio that is very much so optimized for SEO, new customers, and 3 pinned posts that are going to really educate on the foundations of your brand and really have those pinned posts that are telling them what it's going to be, what is it going to do for them, what makes it so wonderful, and getting people a little intrigued. Last week, I got an ad for a new beverage that I liked what I heard in the ad. It was like, I'm not really somebody that drinks. I have blood sugar issues. And so I haven't really drank in a while. Sometimes I'll like try to have, I'm a beer gal. I grew up in Wisconsin. I'll try to have like a nice little hazy, juicy IPA, and your girl has a headache for like 48 hours. And so I don't really drink anymore. And so this beverage was like for the sober curious and it's like the replacement for your like nightly or for your beverage like that, like, cause I miss having a fun bevy. I miss like going out with my friends or like hanging out at their house or going to a bonfire and like having a drink that I'm sipping. And right now I just drink lime LaCroix, which feels a little boring, but again, I'm low sugar, whatever. And I saw this and it was like low sugar for the sober curious that miss a beverage. Like it was literally made for me. And it was talking. And so I clicked on the brand to learn more about what this product was. And there was no talk. There was no bio. There was 3 photos. The 3 photos had pictures of like random studio photos of people like pouring the drink, but I couldn't see the packaging. I couldn't see any ingredients. I couldn't see the flavors. I still don't even know if this was like a probiotic soda, if it was infused with something, if it was like an adaptogenic drink. Like I have no idea. And I exited and I moved on. And it was because if they just had 3 pinned posts and a bio that was super optimized to really tell me what their business was all about, I would have followed and I would have joined an email list or a wait list immediately because I was intrigued by their ad, but I didn't really have anything else to do after that. And so if I was bringing a business to market, my first order of business is understanding that if anybody finds my brand, they at least understand at the foundation what I am trying to build. Create a profile with 3 pinned posts about the brand that is to come. Next, I would start providing value and create a community around the industry and the audience that I'm trying to create to build. So now this doesn't mean that I'm even talking about what my product is. My product is not even live yet, but as soon as I had those pillars, I would start creating content just to build community, whether that's for the DIY community or the beauty community or people that are really loving pickleball right now. I would start creating content that says this is what our brand is all about, this is what our mission is, and then just building community around that, sharing value, and really trying to align my ideal customers and bring them into my profile. Before I actually came to market, I would try to build a level of community of at least some people that I already know are intrigued about my brand. As I'm going through the development, as I'm doing packaging, finalizing the website, on my website, I would have a wait list to get on my email list, would be the only thing. Coming soon, this is what we're all about. Join the email list. And basically, what I would be doing before my website is done, before my product is ready, before my packaging is out there, I would try to build a community, because awareness at the coming to market business is some of the most important things that we can do, is making sure that people are aware of it. And then I would host a party with my friends or some sort of event, and I would take a ton of content. I would have a friend do like video. I would have a photographer there taking photos, taking videos, and I would throw this party and have it's not a launch party. It's literally just a party with my product in use. So whatever method that is, whether it's a girls' night and it's skincare, or it's a dinner party and it's decorations, or whatever it is, I would host a party, take a bunch of really solid content that is really fun with my friends, with my family, that is really well thought out, really well curated, very much so on brand. And I would stockpile really great content. And again, this is while I'm already building community by sharing value around the industry to attract my ideal customer. And then I would hype up the launch after I built a little bit of a mini community. I have my packaging, I have my website all finalized, I have all of those details, I have the production, the shipping, all of that all figured out. Then I would launch it. I would get it out there to the waitlist that I've already been building, and I would start to launch it. Of course, I have a full launch strategy that I would find. I would have some sort of countdowns. I would be building excitement. I would be telling people what we're launching before it's even out there. I would be educating them on the product. What are they going to get? You could do pre-orders if you want to, kind of depends on your brand. And then I would launch it. Get it out there, get people trying it, get people sampling it. I would be out in public with my friends and family, and I even would probably do this at the launch party, is getting content of people trying it, playing with it, whatever that is, getting people's raw reactions, sharing more of that, and then being incredibly consistent in building community and consistently building from there. I would be building for a minimum of 6 to 12 months before really thinking of expanding product lines, unless I see a major gap, maybe launching 1 or 2 more products, maybe a collection or 2. But you really want, if you're launching, even if it's a jewelry brand or like a clothing brand, you want to get people to really love your core series or your hero product or that one major thing, and get people really hooked on that, and then you can expand later. So I would have this one product, build community around that, get feedback on that, get your proof of concept, and then expand. Your overall goal is to get people so hooked on your signature product or your signature collection, and you're educating on them, you are building product awareness, you're getting feedback and reviews, you're optimizing, and then you can go big and expand. I just saw cakes. If you know cakes, they're like little chicken cutlets. They're like little like sticky boobs that for women that have like backless dresses, that they basically are just little stickers, but they've always had this like sticky, not grippy, or they're grippy, not sticky is what it is. Grippy, not sticky, where they were really just like silicone inserts. They never actually stuck to your skin, and they blew up because they were super seamless. But what they were is they were only for really tight fitting shirts. Otherwise, it would just fall off because it wasn't actually sticky. It was just like a silicone insert to basically make it seamless. So they were just like kind of like little nip covers. And they really built up that hero product. They had different colors to match people's skin tones. They had different sizes to match people's size, but they really had that one product, and they blew up with that product on TikTok. They went all in on it. They really had a lot of people that were hooked on that one product. And now, at least a year or 2 later, they just released a sticky, not icky, meaning it's an actual adhesive, but it's still not something that is going to damage the skin or like any of that. It's still going to be something that's a little bit more comfortable. So it gets the same option out there, that this is a better for you option to backless outfits. But now you can wear this on not a tight fitting shirt. Then they're expanding. Now they're starting to expand. They had one product a couple of colors, but one product to market. So they could have very specific marketing, and then they could expand from there, because they could have messaging, marketing, branding, communicating the value and the problem that it's solving, super easy, super simple. And then they're expanding. Even if you have a product that you could do collections, I don't want you to start releasing a new collection every, 4 to 6 weeks. Why? Is because they're never actually connecting to one major topic. They're never actually connecting to one product or really getting hooked on that one product before you're moving on to the next one, meaning it's going to be really hard to build a community around something that is ever changing. So if I was coming to market, this is exactly what I would do. If I had no social media, I would start a completely brand new, fresh social media. I would understand my foundations first, really get my differentiator, my ideal customer, my aesthetic. I would get so curious about who my consumer is and what are their thoughts around my product. I would have my consumers, people in my local area using my product. I would be handing it out, hoping to get some feedback on that. I would start a profile, make those pin posts immediately, optimize the bio, and then start just building community. You're not trying to sell anything. You're just trying to build community around your idea. I would get a ton of content with launch parties, photographers, videographers, all of that. I would hype it up, launch it after I have a little bit of a community, get some of those sales going, see that feedback, and then expand. Really get out there and get people really excited, and then go expansion in a big front. Because why? We want to make sure we have some feedback before we expand in a big way. I wouldn't recommend doing ads right off the bat. I would recommend building a community organically with aligned values, and then we can expand. Once we know that your website converts, once we know your marketing converts, once we know we have a really solid idea, then we go about massive mass market expansion from there. You could do wholesale or whatever that might be after that, but we do want to have a little bit of proof of concept before we try to go big, just to get kind of the bumps out first, because every brand is going to have a couple of bumps. I hope this was helpful for you. This was a episode that was submitted by one of you, one of the listeners. If you want me to answer one of your questions, make sure that you join our Small Business Cafe. It's a great place for you to connect with other small business owners. It's a great place to submit your questions, to have them answered in the podcast, as well as to gain some extra bonus resources that we share there as well. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, as always, my DMs are open. It makes me so happy. It makes my day every single time that one of you guys sends me an Instagram DM that's just saying, I love the podcast and something that really resonated. It helps me adapt the episodes that you are really loving as well, to make sure that I am providing as much value as I possibly can for you. So I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm in your corner always. I will see you in the next episode. Make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast in order to see every episode.